Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Anita and welcome to a very late June wrap up. I have read 3 books in the month of June and we are got a little visitor. Look at that beautiful little girl. So yes, 3 books I read in the month of June. Just a lot of things going on in my life right now and I just haven't been focusing on reading as much, unfortunately. 3 books were actually pretty good. I was very happy with the reading I did and with the ratings I have given them. So let us just get into the books. The first book I read in the month of June is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I finally got to this book and this is the special edition. This is a very hyped book, so I'll just quickly explain to you what it is, even though I think we all know what it's about. It's about a young woman named Addie LaRue who makes a deal with the devil to live forever, but with that comes consequences. For example, she can't write, she can't draw, she can't make a mark upon this world at all. And one day in a Manhattan bookstore, she meets a man who remembers her, and from that comes a really beautiful love story. It's beautiful, heartwarming, heartbreaking. When I first got started with this book, right, I thought it was just going to be from the point of view of Addie LaRue. Instead, we do get dual perspective. We get the perspective of Addie LaRue and we also get the perspective of, I believe his name is Henry. Yes, what a guess. And I just happened to flick to the page to see his name. We also get to see the perspective of Henry, who is the love interest. And he's the one that remembers her. It also flips back and forth between the past and the present, both with Addie LaRue and with Henry. Especially with Addie LaRue's, I really enjoyed with Addie LaRue's because we get to see how she came to make this deal with this devil and her experiences with loneliness. Also her trying to figure out how far her powers, or I don't want to say her powers, but how far her curse takes her, kind of thing. And it's really interesting to see her work through her problems with this curse. I think what I'm trying to say is her learning how to live with a curse and the limitations that come with that. I loved her back point of views because she would have literally seen everything. She would have seen the world from all these different kinds of wars up until 2014, which is like the present day in this book. And that's just so fascinating to me. I really loved seeing different time period, like different periods in time. It would have been incredibly lonely as well. I could not fathom like making this kind of deal. And also like be careful what you wish for and read the fine print and be a little bit more specific with what you want is also what this book is trying to say as well, because what you wish for can have consequences. Now, the devil that makes this deal with Addie and their relationship is so complex and complicated. Like, I don't know if a business arrangement is the right word. It's just very complex. Like, they have these really complex, complicated feelings for each other. Kind of this love triangle, complex love triangle happening. This kind of back and forth that they have. Oh my god, I still don't even know the words for it. I still don't even know how to express my emotions with that, but it was just really fascinating to watch that play out. And the other relationships that Addie LaRue has with these people it was really heartbreaking and heartwarming, especially with Henry, who was the man that remembers her. And I thought there was something up with Henry, and I was kind of correct about it. I was like, yeah, there's something with this guy, and I'm going to guess what it is, and I was correct. I'm not going to say what it is because it is a bit spoilery, but I thought it was like a mental health issue thing at first, but then I thought, nah, there's something else about this guy, and I was correct. The last few chapters and pages of this book had me choking back tears. Like, I was getting pretty teary-eyed. It was quite upsetting. There are LGBTQ plus themes in this book, and it wasn't forced down your throat. It wasn't rammed down your throat. There weren't long discussions about the social injustice that these people do face in everyday life. This character said that they were with a man and a woman, and they were like as in bisexual, and there are gay characters in this book. There were no questions about it. They just were. They were able to be without having like ideas and social injustices rammed down your throat. And it was such a breath of fresh air. I really Really loved reading that, I really did. Overall, I gave this book 4 stars out of 5. The second book I read in the month of June is Rain. It is a comic book by Cal Simmons, I believe is actually the author of this comic book. It's a 2-part comic book. I read the first one. I need to go buy the second one because I tell ya, this one leaves on a little bit of a cliffhanger that I need to know how, why, who, what, when, and a mixture of fantasy and sci-fi. It is a little complicated about what the plot is, other than it's like a medieval fantasy society, and there's just like these, excuse the noise in the background, and there's also like monsters in this medieval fantasy village, and they are trying to like conquer this little village and conquer the world. It was fascinating. This one took me by surprise. If you don't know, this book made the should they stay or should they go kind of video that I'm doing. It's kind of like an unhaul project, and the unhaul project was, if I'll read all these books that I have in that video. I'll try and leave a link down below so you can watch it, and if I like it, I'll keep it. If I don't like it, I'll just unhaul it, you know. It's like an unhaul project. It keeps me accountable to reading books on my shelves, you know. Overall, my thoughts on this comic book were just fine. There was nothing special about it. The story did feel a bit rushed. Obviously, with comic books, you can only tell like a certain amount of story, I guess you could say, within a short, like a bit of a short comic book. So there is some pacing issues with this. Some of the dialogue felt a bit odd to me. Like the dialogue between the characters just felt a little odd to me. I don't know why, and I don't have any other reason or way to explain it other than it just felt rushed to me. I really enjoyed how technology was portrayed in here. We are the technology kind of thing, like our relationship with nature is the technology, or something along the lines of that. It was very fascinating. And the character Rain, that's this guy right here, he has visions of this kind of a floaty woman or whatever. He has these visions of this woman that only he could hear and no one else, and it kind of reminded me of the sword that Gabrielle de Leon uses or wields in Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. That's just kind of what it reminded me of a little bit. However, like I have said in the beginning of me talking about this book, I am very interested to read the second volume, the second and last volume, because there's no more out there. Because there was a cliffhanger, and it's definitely piqued my interest for how, what, who, when, why, and you know? And the third and last book I read in the month of June is La Pavona by Otessa Moshfegh. Oh, I'm starting to become a bit of an Otessa Moshfegh fangirl, and it's making me realize I really like the dark books. The books that just go places that you just wouldn't expect it to go. The plot is a little bit complicated for me to explain because I think one thing I'm noticing about Otessa Moshfegh's books is that they are a bit more character focused more than plot driven. So we follow a group of characters in this little village, little medieval village I should say, called La Pavona. We get Marek, we get his father Jude, who is an abusive asshole, holy shit. We get Ina, who is the village wet nurse. She has like literally nursed all of these people in this village. We get the king, who, what is his name? I don't remember his name, but we get the king and the ruler of La Pavona and his dark tendencies and his dark secrets. And we also follow the priest, who is a bit of a con artist. I gave this book 4 stars out of 5. I really enjoyed it. The genre is like a bit of a mishmash. I hear that it is lumped in with the horror genre. I don't see anything horrific about it other than it's just horrific what the people go through, what people do to each other, and that's a bit of a theme with Otessa Moshfegh's books. It is like more focuses on people's darkest desires, I guess you could say, like people's darkness that we all have. I do think this book does go under the magical realism genre because Ina, the village wet nurse, she sees visions every time she nurses a child. Massive trigger warnings with any Otessa Moshfegh's book. We have cannibalism, abuse, and rape. It's not that graphic. It's just kind of, I don't want to say glossed over, but it's just talked about very simply. I don't know if that's the right word, but there is rape. Those are the three: the cannibalism, abuse, and rape are the ones that I can think of. There are probably more, so just please be warned. Religion plays a very big role in this book, and the religion in this book mainly focuses on how people use religion as fear mongering, and how if you don't do this, you'll go to hell. You have to punish yourself to go to heaven. But why would God want you to punish yourself to go to heaven? Like, and it deals a lot with that, and I really, really loved it. I really did. I don't like religion in reality, like me talking to you, like in reality, in real world, I should say, I don't like religion at all. When it comes to fictional books, I eat that shit up. I love it so much. I also heard from someone who read this book, they wrote a review that I really, really enjoyed about this book. And they had said that it kind of had like A24 kind of vibes. And I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I do think A24 could make a movie out of this. I really do. It just had this kind of dreamlike whimsy kind of feel, like it's kind of dreamlike, I guess you could say, like just like a really bad dream, like a fucking nightmare. There's like this really slow tension, this really slow build up throughout the book, which brings to the whole explosive ending. If you read the book, you know about the baby, and oh my god, the baby. What's going to happen to the baby? The baby is something. I tell you, I don't want to say it, but the baby, it's just a wild, dark roller coaster ride. So yeah, like I said, I'm doing this the wrong way. Oh my gosh, I'm still doing it the wrong way. So yeah, 3 books, I should say. It was a decent reading month. I was quite happy with the books I read. I've just been reading so slowly this year. Just like I've said, a lot of stressful things happening, and I haven't been focusing as much. I haven't been enjoying it as much, I guess you could say, just with everything that's happened. Other than that, that is the video. Thank you very, very much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments, how was your reading month in June? And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.